There's no audio.
Uh-oh. What's up, Squid Squad? This is another installment of
Episode, yeah.
Two guys
in front of an aquarium talking about videos.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had the request to check out the what's this channel called? I don't know how to scroll. The Odd Ones Out channel. So thank you for requesting that. We're gonna do another reaction. If you are bored of these and want to see something else, let us know because we're kind of bored of them too. Stick around till the end of the video to find out.
If you guys want to see a sword fight between me and Vincent, let me know because there can only be one.
And stick around till the end of the video if you'd like to find out how to win your copy of The Love Guru. It's unopened, unviewed, starring Mike Myers, Jessica Alba, and Justin Timberlake. I will let you know how this can be yours at the end of the video.
How have you been since the last week?
Oh, is it rolling?
Before we keep going, how have you been since the last week?
I'm not sure if you're baiting me and expecting me to say something in particular, or if you're just asking.
No.
Oh.
But I will tell you this, VideoSquid fans. And oh, by the way,
Squid Squad.
Squid Squad. Thank you for the few of you who have said hi to me on the comment section. Very much appreciated. Give me some time to reply to those because I have my own channel, of course.
Percocet, Miley Percocet, Percocet, Miley Percocet, rep the set, gotta rep the set, chase it.
And so I don't get the notifications for VideoSquid. I actually have to go to the video and then read them, but I did read all of them, so thank you. Secondly, some of you guys have asked us to react to some kind of conspiracy video. I guarantee that Vincent is going to react to it. If you guys ever want him to react to anything and you don't know if he'll say yes, tell me to tell him and he will do it.
I'm gonna make it a point to talk with you guys even more in depth about this, but some of you over time have heavily requested Larry videos and Neri and Zeri. A couple of you have thrown Mary into the mix. Oh, Zayn and Harry? Oh yeah, it gets they go deep. But anyway, at first people would request this and then people would chime in and say, no, don't ruin the channel. We don't want to see that on here. But as time has gone on, I think more people on this channel want to see it than the ones that don't. I just want to make sure. Again, I'll go more in depth with this, but right now in the comment section, if you can, let me know, do you want to see Larry on this channel?
Of course they want to see it! But, Chen, let's talk to the people. Let's talk some realness. Are you ready? I'm starting a new section. It's called Let's Be Real.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to bring Keep It 100 back.
Oh, let's bring back the Keep It 100 section. If you want to make an intro for our Keep It 100 section. Keep it 100 if you really who you say you are. Who is your favorite 1D guy?
Oh no!
I'll tell you my favorite.
You wanted me to go first though?
Well, yeah.
Okay. I don't think this is a secret, and I wanna preface this with something. I've let you guys know that I don't think that just because you like one that you have to bash the others. I talked about that heavily in my Louis Tomlinson Can't Sing video. My favorite 1D member is all of them.
Yeah, right. Okay. It's hairy, people.
I'm so hairy. You guys know how hairy I am. I'm a big hairy fan. I'm just a big hairy dude. I feel like I can relate more to him. I feel like I'm more in tune with what he does musically and the same tastes and likes and stuff like that. I'm not really there in the same way with Louis, but I still love everything pretty much that he does. But if I had to choose a favorite, considering everything, I'd have to say Harry.
By the way, there was at one point in our life where Vincent was very much pursuing the music thing. And I was his manager. I was like the momager, but friendager.
I forgot about that.
And I had Vincent. So we live in California, and where we live, he was the most popular person in our area. There was like this one show. There was one show that I had him set up at.
I was on a live TV show.
And well, not the TV show. There was
oh, you're talking about those flyers?
There was a show at a place called Full Circle Brewery. here, and I got him a show there. And I was like, oh, I'm going to make this popular. Everyone's going to want to go. So everybody was talking about it for a while, and there was flyers everywhere. And maybe I'll give you a picture of the flyer, and you can put it up for them. I would go to like a gas station, and then just start putting flyers on the wall of the gas station.
Did you ask all of them?
Without asking for permission. And then people were like telling him like, yo, I seen your flyer around, blah, 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 blah.
I remember for weeks after the gig, they were still up at random stores.
Oh yeah, because we just put them up and never took them down. And what happened was, finally, and everybody was talking about it, and then finally the day of the event happened. Vincent shows up, the most popular man where we live. How many people showed up to the concert?
From where we lived? Okay, I'll put it this way. Not a single person that saw that flyer was there. It was all people, because we live in one town, and then the gig was going to be in another town. It was just all whoever the locals were, like whoever would have went into the bar anyway.
How much money did you make from that show?
0. They ripped me off. I was supposed to get, I think it was $6 cover charge, and they actually had a person there at the door collecting the money, and I saw them. I was looking all night like, oh, there's another one. I was like adding it up in my head. There's another one. And then at the end of the night, I go over there. I'm all excited, and they're like, oh, sorry, there was a mix-up. The person wasn't the normal person that's usually here, and this and that. And I was like, well, this many people came in. This was a cover charge. It's very simple. But bottom line, they didn't give me a penny, and I was devastated. It was a 4-hour gig. Do you remember that?
He cried on the phone to me, and then I apologized because I thought he was the most popular man where we live,
and he didn't even go to the gig.
But I couldn't go. Do you remember why I couldn't go?
I can't remember why.
Well, it was a very big reason. I wasn't even in town.
Is that all you remember?
All I remember is that I had something very important. But I don't think I was in town. I think I was living in San Francisco.
You were in San Francisco
at the time,
right.
And so I had to go back, probably work or something. But I did my duty of telling the public. Anywho.
Don't ever go to the Full Circle Brewing Company. This is top 10 things that keep me awake at night. Like I said, if it's not good, we'll just go on to more videos on the channel like we did last week, but hopefully it's good.
If you're watching this and it's late at night and you have school tomorrow, I'm sorry. Top 10 things that keep me awake at night. Number 10, eating all those sugary snacks before my bedtime. My blood sugar goes through the roof. Sorry, I just can't help myself. I love a good cookie dipped in hot chocolate. Number 9.
That was dumb. Right.
Well, eating before bed is bad for you, right?
Well, I mean, I know. Yeah, I'm just hoping that this doesn't turn out to be like a really black and white, like just giving you like scientific facts. Don't eat sugar before you go to bed, because it didn't feel very interesting.
Fun fact about me, I've never slept in my life. That's just a fact that everybody knows. I can't sleep. Some of us have insomnia. If you do as well.
Do you have insomnia?
Type it below. No. But you know what?
I just always figured you were just editing. Do you have trouble sleeping?
No. If I'm done with the day, and I'm like done editing or something, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to sleep now. If I lay in bed for hours and hours.
I don't think we've ever talked about that. I didn't know that.
Some days I won't get any sleep. So some days I'll lay in bed for like 5 hours, and then like by that time it's so uncomfortable, and I'm going back and forth, and it's like hot now, and I'll just get up and start working, and then just work through the next day and exhaust myself and go to sleep. Actually, I think the only way I can actually sleep is if I exhaust myself, and then I pass out. And so like, yeah.
Are you ever too tired to sleep?
Yeah. No, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
That happens so much. It's so weird that actually is a real thing, but you can. And I heard that when you go running and you go jogging, there's like, of course, like there's that runner's high where you want to keep going, but also it seems like you can get to a point on like a treadmill where you're just like
going
through
you're
the motions, and
you just catatonic,
keep going and going and going.
And then the kind of life that we lead, it just puts us in a dangerous cycle because we're always trying to finish stuff at all hours of the day and night, and we have late night snacks, and then I'm sure that just feeds into the insomnia.
You're correct.
Just the thought that one day me and everyone I love will die. In just 500 years, no one is going to remember me. So what's the point of doing anything? In the grand scheme of the universe, do I even matter? Unless the internet's still around by then. Thumbs up if you're watching this in the year 2516. And also, don't forget me. Number 8, my dogs. My dogs just love to sleep on my bed.
By the way, have you talked to your video fans, the Squid Squad, about depression and about nothing that we do matters in this world, and we're all gonna die and become dust one day? Everyone you know, anyone you've ever loved, is gonna die. All of your ideas are gonna die one day.
It's weird, like that you bring that up when the animal thing came up, because it's a strange
animal thing?
Well, you know how they're starting to talk about pets sleeping with you now.
Yeah, but we were talking about the section before this.
Well, it's weird. Like my mind is combining them.
Why?
Because like it's an ugly thought, but every time I look outside and I see our dog, the first thing, and usually the thing I think of most, is someday that dog is gonna die, and it's gonna make my kids really sad. And that's what the dog is to me. It's a thing that's gonna make my kids cry later.
I think about that every time I see a pet too.
Yeah.
But I think about that every time I see a human.
Yeah, so yeah, it goes on to that, and I try not to think too much about it because I already have enough in my mind that makes me think that way, but it's very strange, and I try to push it out of my mind.
But it's not a motivation for you then? Like,
It is. It's frustrating because it is a motivation for me to try to prioritize my time better, but at the same time I realize that the biggest reason why I don't currently have my time prioritized very well is because I'm always trying to get ahead and get work done so that life is a little better.
horrible.
But then life will go by before you know it.
The cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon.
I sleep on a twin-size bed, which is a stupid name for a bed that can fit one person, and I'm actually a twin, so I'm allowed to sleep on those. And I'm not on the below average side of the height spectrum, so I cover about 110% of the bed. And if me and my dogs are both cognitive enough to plan something out, maybe we could set up a system. I mean, they're pretty small dogs. I did the math. They should be able to fit. But my dogs have found that the most comfortable part of the bed is right dead center in the middle. So I just gotta finagle my way into a comfortable position. And if the dog leans up against you or sits on your leg, then you're obligated by dog law.
Do you think you would ever be a dog on the bed kind of person?
I don't think I'd ever be a dog in the house kind of person.
I was leading to that. I feel like in 2017, people like us are practically shamed for not like putting clothes on the dogs and having them in the house eating spaghetti with us.
Clothes on the dogs.
Like where I come from, like my background, dogs don't go in the home. That doesn't happen. But every time that comes up in conversation, people act like I'm a monster. Like, how could you have your dog out there? It's cold. And I'm thinking it's an animal.
Here's an interesting talk. So why do we want dogs and cats in the house? Because they've been domesticated, right? But that means that, and then like, but then people who are dog lovers will also hate SeaWorld, right? For capturing the whales and stuff. Yeah. And it's like, if we get to the point where we keep catching seals and over time they become domesticated, it's the same thing. It's either you keep dog in your house and then you're cool with SeaWorld, or you have no pet and you're not cool with SeaWorld.
If you disagree with SeaWorld, if you disagree with elephants in the circus, and you have a dog or a cat in your home, you're a hypocrite.
Can't believe it. Looking at you.
My bed is right next to a window, so I sometimes open the blinds so they can look outside, and so they're both right next to my face. But then in the morning, if there's another person, or God forbid another dog outside, then... Jeez, that...
Would you be the kind of parent that allows your children to sleep in the bed with you?
Children, yeah, of course.
Until what age? And how often?
Till they're dead.
Till they're dead.
Who cares?
Interesting.
Like, why is that weird?
Well, for me, it's mostly a comfort issue.
That's true. That's why you gotta get the California super king size, or get that bed that Shaq has that is like 30 feet in diameter.
I have thought for a while, and it's a weird thing to desire, but I've thought if I ever become successful in life, if I'm ever able, that's probably one of the very first things I'm going to get, because I have a California king size bed. It's not big enough. So I'm thinking I want to like double or triple that, because kids end up in the bed and then you end up on the floor. I'd rather sleep on the floor or the couch because I need room to move around when I sleep. I can't sleep with the kids on the bed.
I have a very comfy couch. We got that full big size leather.
Oh,
it's just lay on it and wait, Pauls, you've slept on my couch. Is it comfy?
Not the old one.
Not the one in the other living room, the leather one?
I can't sleep on leather because I'll sweat a bunch.
Oh.
Number 7. There are as many creatures on your body as there are people on Earth. And
What?
how many-
Do you ever?
That's the truth, Jen. There are a billion things living on you right now.
Are you ever like watching TV or driving and
Yeah.
you feel something on your leg?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
but you look and like you think it must be a spider or something. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
You think that's like along the lines of what this is? At
I'm
any
not
given time, they're
sure.
just roaming.
I'm not sure, but like if you feel like a herd of bacteria or something like go up on your arm and that's what you feel, like that little movement.
So you think he's mostly talking about things we can't even see with our eyes?
He's definitely talking about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Vince, you're talking about people who don't shave their legs and their hairs just touch each other and they touch.
Like men?
Yeah.
Number 6. They never caught the Zodiac killer. I know he was around in the 70s, but if he was in his 20s in the 70s...
Now he's older. Have you seen the movie Zodiac?
Oh yeah, I've
Have
seen
y'all
it. I've
seen the movie
Oh, I
Zodiac?
thought you were talking to me.
Robert Downey Jr. Who
He's in
else?
that?
Mark
There's
Ruffalo.
like 8 of them. Wait, do you mean Jake Gyllenhaal? Robert Downey Jr.'s in Zodiac?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one with Jake Gyllenhaal?
The only
Jake
Zodiac
Gyllenhaal?
movie that matters.
The only Zodiac movie that matters. in
So the one with
existence?
Mark Ruffalo is the one that has Jake Gyllenhaal, right?
Yes.
Robert Downey Jr.'s in there?
Yeah. Oh, and Jake Gyllenhaal's the newspaper guy.
Yeah.
He's kind of that's the movie.
Oh, Robert Downey Jr. was the alcoholic.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I ever told you this. Did I tell you that I was convinced? I don't know if I don't still believe it. That
You were the Zodiac killer.
I worked with him.
That you worked with him.
I was convinced for several reasons that RJ was the Zodiac killer.
Did he live in San Francisco?
He moved around a lot, and I know he lived in metropolitan areas, especially when he worked in radio. He lived in numerous cities, and that could have easily been one of the cities he worked in.
If you guys don't know the Zodiac killer, he was killing people and then sending these little games and puzzles to the newspapers and the cops so that they can find out his identity or find out what's going on next. The thing is, they never caught him, even though they kind of had suspects who they kind of knew, it's got to be this guy. They had never caught this person.
The guy that I'm talking about, the age fit, he was in the service. He had that type of training. The picture, the sketch looked like him at the time. No family, not married, no kids. He was a wanderer. I still think it might be him. I don't know.
What? What if he's not the Zodiac killer, but he just killed someone else? What's interesting is the no family and no kids thing. Very interesting. And did he ever...
And he even had this one painful story. He had this story. He even had a photo of this girl. She was like the one who got away. And he would often tell me stories about her.
Ooh.
And it was this painful, sad story. So there was a darkness there.
Dang.
I'd go over and I'd visit him. We'd hang out. He was the best man in my wedding. Way older than me. And he'd do puzzles and stuff like that. And it's just all the pieces started coming together. And it was very
Chan,
strange.
you have a civil duty to call the cops right
I
now.
know snitch.
Number 5. Fractals. What are those, you ask? Imagine you're a farmer and you have infinity fence posts to build a closed pen for your animals, and you have to use all the fence posts. And you think, well, first off, that's physically impossible. If I have infinity fence posts, then I can't use all of them because I'll always have more.
I can't imagine that something like this would keep someone awake at night. Like, you'd have to have 0 troubles in your life to be worrying about fractals.
You know what? No, not really, because here's one thing. Here's one way. So here's one thing about fractals and one thing about people like this. One thing that used to keep Einstein up at night was this question. And he's a guy who he worked at like a patent office, and he was just so good at math that he was just discovering stuff in his head on his own. And like a lot of big scientists, they would be like at these schools and working with other scientists and actually have labs that they could do experiments with. Here's one question that he had. If you, let's say, because light travels super fast, right? Mm-hmm. If you were traveling as fast as light and you and light were racing one-on-one and you guys were right next to each other and you looked over, what does that light beam look like? Weird question, right?
Yeah.
But for him, just being in physics, like he just liked that stuff so
So
much.
him thinking about that is like me thinking about the next sketch I have to write.
Yeah, so for him, like mathematics is like such a creative thing. He's like, anything I can imagine, I can make it an equation. Anything you can imagine, you can make it a script.
Okay, because I equated this to like if I was laying awake at night at 3 a.m, doing like a word problem in my head, something that has nothing at all. Those math problems they call them word problems.
Yeah.
I equated that to that would be like me doing that instead of me, trying to figure out something I have to do for work the next day.
Right.
But-
No. That means that these guys love being creative with this math stuff. You love being creative with. You're thinking about the Brown Ranger.
I think something that fuels my insomnia is I never want to stop working. Even when I'm laying down, I have my notepad next to me because I'm always writing stuff so I won't forget it.
I got my notepad right here.
This is a fractal, children. It's a closed shape with an infinite perimeter. What?
Infinite
what?
perimeter.
Infinite perimeter? But I
See
can
that?
see it. I can...
So you're looking at this shape right now, right? Mm-hmm. And like you see how it looks like coastal lines, like it's just little ridges here and then there. That actually has, let's say we have like Shaq's bed. Shaq's bed has a diameter of 30 feet.
Okay.
Right? 30 feet all the way around. This shape that we're looking at has an infinity diameter. Can never be counted.
measure it. Oh no.
Now it's going to keep you up at night. Watch what he says about
Shut
it.
up. You're not looking close enough. Let's zoom in. Basically, you can zoom up on this pattern forever. That's just what a fractal is. So since no matter how much you zoom up on this shape, it will always repeat itself. The perimeter of this shape, or the fence you use to make it, is infinite. It's a closed shape with an infinite perimeter. Is the area of this shape infinite too? I don't know. Ask Vsauce. Doesn't that blow your mind? Number 4.
Isn't that
So-
just getting like intellectual when there's no need? Because you could just look at that for what it is and say that's the end.
No, but so that shape is created from an equation. And the equation says that what you know how like we're getting like very intellectual
So this
right
is
now.
stuff you know about already.
This is
You've seen
so
that shape?
you know like vectors. You know like so you know how like when you work in Photoshop and
Yeah.
Illustrator. When we work in Photoshop, you can make something and you zoom in, it gets all pixelated, right?
Yes.
If you work on something in Adobe Illustrator, it's what's called a vector. You know how they're clean lines, and like you can zoom in and the line is still clean.
They won't get pixelated.
Because that line doesn't exist. That line's a mathematical problem. The curves are by a guy named something Bezier, and the curve is a piece of math saying where the line should be.
So it's serving more as like a grid.
It's serving more as like a rule of where that shape should be or where that field should be. So fractals are made by an equation, and in the fractal equation you can keep zooming in. And here's where it could relate to the real world. Is the real world like that? Where we zoom in, we see a cell. Where we zoom in, now we see an atom. Where we see an atom, we zoom in, we see an electron. When we zoom into the electron, we see quarks. When we zoom into the quarks, we see strings. You're right. So that keeps people up at night too.
But would you still say that the people that it keeps up are people that are like...
They're nerds.
Oh, okay.
They're nerds. They shouldn't keep people like us up. Should we keep talking about the universe? Or should we cut this?
Something interested me. I don't know how deep we want to go into this right now, but when he was talking about how we're such a tiny speck in the whole grand scheme of things.
Best thing ever. That's the best thing. The best thing to talk about in the whole world is philosophy and religion. Number one, there's no better subject than this. But go on.
Have you ever heard the theory that when... Okay. I'm sure you have heard that a lot of the people and a lot of the things that happen on Earth are directly affected by the aliens, demons coming down and influencing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard people flip it and be like, well, when I was studying the Bible and when I heard these stories and really dug in and I read about Moses leading the Israelites out and he was following that light in the sky, that was an alien. That was a UFO that he was following. The aliens were influencing Moses. This whole Jesus thing, all that wasn't real. That was another thing that the aliens influenced, and that's not the Messiah. And I was like, whoa, I've never heard that.
That's from a book called Chariots of the Gods.
So you've heard that.
Where
That's usually the first conspiracy people hear.
that's
Oh,
the first.
shoot.
So the very first form of ancient aliens came from a book called Chariots of the Gods, where the guy was saying that Ezekiel and these other people when you hear about these stories being taken up,
They took up Elijah.
they took up Elijah. Yeah, they took up Elijah. And it's like, yo, it was this UFO that came down and did this thing, and yeah. So it's the aliens. It's Nibiru. It's the 11th planet. They're coming back.
11th Planet Jiu-Jitsu's in on this?
So what do you think? You think it's aliens or what? Or do you think? Well, actually, there's two questions here because you started with the question of does nothing that we do matter, and now you're having the question of are aliens influencing the past?
I guess I think I was just leading to that. I
Oh,
think that's yeah.
you're worried about aliens.
I'm wondering how what is your response to that? Like when you hear people say that,
Yeah.
they read this book, they write these kind of books, what does a person who believes that was, God inspired, that, what really happened, how does someone debate that? Because we weren't there. How do you say, no, that wasn't an alien? Because here's my biggest thing.
Okay.
How can you take the Bible?
Yeah.
I always wonder about this.
Mm-hmm.
How can you take the Bible and tell someone that Chariot's book thing, that's not true. That wasn't an alien. Because look, the Bible says. They don't care what the Bible says.
Right.
So how do you make someone believe that just because the Bible says something, then it must not have been aliens? That's where I get stuck. How are you supposed to convince
So you're
someone?
stuck on whether all that stuff was aliens or not. That's a good question. So
Well, I personally don't believe it's aliens, but I just wonder,
No,
how do
but-
you even debate that?
No, yeah. So that's the question. So let's think about it. I guess they could be. It could all be alien stuff. Like here's the thing.
There you go.
Here's the thing. That's the answer, guys. It could be. One thing that I've always found funny is like when you go back to like all these ancient alien stuff or putting aliens in, it's just the question is like why would the aliens do that? It doesn't make sense to why they would interfere and then not interfere now, or have they interfered many times before, like a Zeus kind of thing, or to the Egyptians. But even then, like there's not. So have you ever seen Ancient Aliens?
Is that a movie?
Never seen the show Ancient Aliens?
No.
Okay. Well, there's a show.
Oh.
You should check it out. It's like on the History Channel. It's very fun to watch. But they go into like the tombs of the pharaohs, and like they go to like these Mayan ruins, and they look at like these people like this, and then like just drawings, right? And then they're like, you see, he's got this air tank connected to his mouth here, and this is a nuclear generator under his seat, and you can see fire coming from under his chair.
And at that time,
like,
they shouldn't have been aware of that kind of stuff. Huh?
yeah, but that's not really in the drawings. So every time that's brought up, like it's not really in the drawings, whatever you thought.
Someone's mocking that up?
No. Not that someone's mocking that up. Is they're reading into the artwork, like they're putting their own things into the past, into the artwork. I mean, you can always do that, like after the fact, like reading into this and that, but it's like completely fake. I wish I could show you. Like I need like specific examples in front of me, so that we could break it down and show you. But here's one
we can
example.
do part 2 next week.
Here's one example. There's like all these old paintings and like old paintings of like the Madonna or something, and they'll have a woman and she's like covering herself or whatever. She's got hair. She's got shells around her, and then in the background in the sky you see these little figurines right in the sky like UFOs. And when you watch these videos on YouTube, they'll show these ominous UFO type thingies in the sky, and then even in the background behind the Madonna you'll see like these little figures pointing to the things in the sky,
I think I've seen that.
like they're literally pointing. And so they made none of that up. That's all there. The thing is, they never show you like the real high def version of it's in the back, and it's like angels, right? Like so that this person's not depicting what they think are UFOs. This person is depicting like what they think are angels.
Oh, so it's just taken out of context?
It's taken out of context. Yeah, it's just a little flip. It's a little flip that can make the whole thing mean something else. So, I mean, anything can be flipped that way.
Do you think we landed on the moon?
I'm 100% positive we landed on the moon because we have reflectors that we left on the moon. There's literally, if you have a good enough telescope, you could look up and see that we left lunar modules up there. You can tell that we left our lunar rovers up there. There's
So
rovers.
that's not something that we trust because we see YouTube videos. People are actually looking up there and seeing.
You can look up and see lunar rovers on the moon, and you can shoot a beam of light through a laser, high-powered laser, at the moon, at an exact spot where the Apollo people left a reflective disc or a reflective square, and it'll shoot back to you.
Any chance that aliens left those there?
Yes, but there's always a chance.
Do you believe that there is a cure to cancer and they're not giving it to us?
Good question.
I do.
Magic Johnson has the cure. Magic Johnson had AIDS. And now he
Oh, I
doesn't
was
have
going to say
AIDS.
that was a different disease.
So, on that note, hope you guys have a good
Oh!
day.
If you want to be entered for your chance to win The Love Guru on DVD, then you can simply tweet this video, hashtag it Squid Squad to be in the running. Kevin Steincross says it's hysterical. Runtime is 86 minutes. And
Do you guys even have a DVD player? Can you guys play that movie? If not, we'll get them a month of Netflix.
okay. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And
Let
click
us
that little
know
bell.
what to react to as a group, not just for Vincent, but us together.
And even if we should do something else besides reacting.
Should we do the hot noodle challenge next week? Because I actually ordered some, but it's kind of scary. So yeah.
See you guys next time.
Peace.